That's right. It is indeed 7/29. Welcome to this version of the Maker Nerd. My name is Diana, and tonight we're going to be doing some work with a decal. We are going to cut a decal out of vinyl. Just a second, please. Okay, maybe I don't have to sneeze. Thought I had to sneeze there for a second. Okay, so, yeah, we're going to be doing some work on some vinyl tonight. So, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here we have my computer screen. So, the first thing that we're going to do is we have an image. Let me see if I can quickly find that image for you. Let's see, here, and here is the image that we're going to be working with tonight in the PNG version, this guy right here. So obviously the first thing that we have to do is this is just a PNG, and this will not work on a cutting machine. So we're going to have to go ahead and convert this to a file that will work on our Cricut machine. And so we need to convert this to an SVG. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to come over here to the computer, and we're going to go to svgcreator.com. I should probably, maybe I do have this bookmarked, but I should probably really bookmark this, huh? So yeah, now that we're here at Creator, we're just going to go down here, and we're going to say choose our file. And we're going to pop in here. We're going to pop into the Maker Nerd folder. Well, here it is, images. And we're going to upload this PNG. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, wait, it's not doing anything. But all you have to do is scroll down, and voila. You see that you have your SVG here. So now we're just going to click download. I have one version of this that is not a good version, so I'm just going to overwrite that one. I'm going to go to the Maker Nerd. SVGs, hit that. I'm going to say save. It's going to say override it, and I'm going to say yes. So if you happen to be on here watching, give a thumbs up, make a comment, ask questions, and I'll try and answer those as we go. So now we have this downloaded to our computer, and we can come over here now to Cricut Design Space. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to want to create a new project. So we're just going to click New Project here. And so now we have to take that image that we created and we have to get it into our design space, right? So we're going to go down here and we're going to click the Upload button. And then we're going to say Upload Images, and we're going to hit the Browse button. And we're going to go to the Maker Nerd, and we're going to go to SVGs, and there's our SVG file. And so here it is, right? And we're going to call this Vulture Head, and we're going to go ahead and say save. Going to give it a couple of seconds. Perfect. And then we're going to go over back to our project, and we're going to say click this and insert the image. Voila. Okay, so the image comes in at a fairly decent size, but we want this as close to 11.5 by 11.5 as we can get it. Now, this outer border is actually, it's going to go away. The actual decal is only going to be the circular part. So what we're going to do, I mean, we could, you know, take this and drag it, and then we could come down here, and we could drag this, and we could guesstimate it, but that's too much work. So up here, you can see that you have size. One side is just a hair bigger than the other, so we want to put 11.5. Because the little lock is on up here, when we hit enter, see, it automatically changed this size over here. Now, you're probably wondering, why are you going 11.5 when mats are 12 inches? And the reason for that is that Cricut obviously doesn't want to cut right to the very edge of the mat, right? It has to have a little bit of a buffer, of a border. So that's what we're going to have here, is we're going to have just a little bit of a border. Okay, so we've got it to the right size. Now if we go ahead, I'm going to show you, this isn't going to work, but I'm going to go ahead and show you. So I'm just going to click Make It. And look, the first thing it wants to cut out is this big circle, which we clearly don't want. The second thing it wants to cut out is just this little, the inner black circle with this little part right here. Again, not what we want. The third thing it wants to cut out then is the head. And you're probably going, this is one image. Why is it doing that? Well, for some reason it sees it, as you can see over here on the right-hand side, it sees it as these different pieces. But that's not a problem. All we have to do is come down here, click and drag and select, click and drag. Okay, it's not going to want to click and drag. We're just going to go up here then, deselect, and select all. Then once we've selected all, we're going to say attach all of this together. And now, no, we're going to say weld it. There we go. See how it changed up here? Now we know that we've just got one image to cut. And when we come over here and we click on Make It, we can see that we have the one image. So we can cut this, and it's going to cut to where the vulture is going to be facing. Say you put this, if you were to cut this exact image twice, right? One of the vultures would be facing the rear of the vehicle, and on the opposite side, if you wanted it on two different windows on the sides, on the opposite side, the vulture would be facing towards the front of the vehicle, which probably, when you're thinking about decals on your vehicle and having one on both your sides, that's probably not really what you want, right? You probably really want your vultures facing the same direction. And so the way that you fix that problem is really simple. You cut one, just like we have it here. We just click Continue and we hit Cut. But then on the second one that you cut, you come back in and you hit Mirror. And see what it does is it flips it for you. So now your vultures are going to be facing the same direction when you put them on your side windows on your vehicle. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you the vinyl that I'm using. And so here's the problem. I thought I would have vinyl that matched. But I think you can probably see, even in this picture, that these two reds are just not quite the same. I'm going to go through this. I've gone through the second pack of vinyl once, and I know I've not used any of this vinyl out of the pack, so I don't know. I'm guessing, because they don't have any colors on the back. All you have are your grid lines. I don't know if you can see those. Yeah, there you go. You have grid lines so that, you know, if you just need a certain 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch or whatever, you can see how these line up on here. But anyway, not important. The important thing is these two vinyls are not the exact same color. I'm going to go ahead and complete the project just so that I can show you. Obviously, these are going to be on opposite sides of the vehicle. Nobody's ever going to know the difference in the two vinyl colors except me. But I think me is enough. So we'll complete this, like I said, to show you the process. But chances are really good that we're going to be recutting this and just get a bigger sheet of vinyl so that we can get the whole thing on there. So I'm just kind of moving the computer out of the way right now. I'm going to come over here and grab a mat out. I'm going to turn my Cricut on too. Grab a mat. Okay, so here we have a mat. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, slam that shut. I'm going to set my tea off for a second so I can have enough working space. I'm going to pull off carrier sheet on there. That sticks so friggin' well. I'm just kind of looking at my mat just to make sure that I'm not seeing any stray dog or cat hairs on there, which I don't, which is good. Typically I always find some and have to grab out the lint roller and go to town on it. So I'm just going to take my vinyl. Now because this is regular vinyl and this is not HTV vinyl, we go ahead and put the shiny side up, or the color side up. Reaching over here now, grabbing this. We're just going to put this down really nice and snug on here. Huh. That kind of scratched the vinyl. I don't like that at all. Looking at that. I don't know if you all can see it. No, it doesn't look like you can. But anyway, looks like on this particular type of vinyl. And I bought these packs off Amazon. I don't know how good they are. They're called Easy Craft vinyl. I see a lot of people have used them. But anyway, shiny side or colored side up, because this does not have its own transfer backing. What you see here, this white is actually covering the sticky side of the vinyl. So we've got that on there. We're going to take this and we're going to load it into our machine. So give me half a second here. I'm going to do this. Give me a second. I'm going to select this and I'm going to select this. Okay, so now you've got the double picture here. So we're taking this over to our machine, which is right here beside us. We're holding that nice and snug. We are going to change our dial setting, which is currently on iron on. We're going to change it to vinyl. We're going to hit load. Okay. Now we're going to come back to our computer. And we're going to click continue here. So it's going to say select the device. The Explorer Air 2 is the device. So we're going to wait patiently until it connects. It has connected. It's reading the dial on the machine, which is pretty handy. It knows that it is set to vinyl. It knows that we should have the fine point blade in there, which we do. We don't care to cut this fast. I mean, it's a simple design and we could probably cut it fast, but I prefer to cut things slow so that I know they work. You can probably see our light flashing over here now, and we're going to hit cut. Now this is the reverse image that we're cutting on this one. Just going to bring this forward a little bit to make sure it has plenty of clearance in the back. You all can still see that. Perfect. You can see my messy 3D printer table back there too, I'm sure. Currently says we're already 30% done. You can see that on the screen as well. Now it's cutting out the square to it, which, as I told you, all that's going away. We're just keeping the circle and what's inside. But it's nearing completion. Cutting that last outer circle. And now we've got the flashing light for unload right here. So we're going to go ahead and press unload and bring that out. For now, we're going to go ahead and close up the machine. Good. And it's saying load your next project. But right now we don't have a next project, so we're not going to worry about doing that. Okay, so we're going to bring you back to a solo screen here. And I'm going to show you the desk. I'm going to go ahead and completely move the computer out of the way for now. Okay, so now we've got this cut. Not sure that you can see the cut lines. Yeah, you can see some of them. You can also see the reflection of my umbrella lighting up there as well, can't you? See, I have two umbrella lights that give a pretty nice lighting, except when you've got something like this that is a really reflective surface. So I'm looking at it and it looks pretty good. So there's a couple of ways that you can weed a project like this. The first way is that you can go ahead and weed off any excess like we did for the t-shirt. And once you've got the excess weeded off, we take transfer tape, we lay it down onto our images, and we burnish it to get it to stick. I have read up on this particular vinyl, and a lot of people say that this particular vinyl is easier to do a reverse weed on. So what's a reverse weed, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to grab our transfer tape. Just a second. You know, I love the storage that I have, but wow, can always use more. Of course, it would also help if I got in the right drawer for the transfer tape. So here we go. Okay. So here we have our transfer tape. So we're going to untape this here. I don't know why this is plastic tape. I almost always use paper tape on everything. Gonna get rid of that to the trash. Okay. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut this even. So let me grab some scissors right here and go ahead and cut this at the 1/2 inch mark. Obviously, I will keep this transfer tape because this is plenty big enough to do things, other little small projects. Then I need this to be as big as my image. And you're thinking, wow, that's going to waste a lot of transfer tape, isn't it? Not really, because the image itself pretty much takes up the entire 12 inches. So let's go ahead and cut this now. I love that this transfer tape actually gives you the markings, right? And now I'm going to tell you a secret about this as well, is that I'm going to keep the backing from this because I'm going to use it once I move this onto it. The back of this will be sticky, and so I'm going to have to protect it. And so that's what I use the backing of that for, is to protect the transfer itself. So I'm going to put this away. Okay, good. So I'm just going to try and roll this the reverse way a little bit just to see if I can get some of that natural curve out of it. I think that was a complete and total fail. We'll try it one more time. I don't have much hope. I mean, Lord only knows how long it has been rolled up. in that tiny, on that spool, so probably a lot longer than I can effectively change its natural way of curving. Yeah, it's not wanting to. All right, so, well, that helped a little. It didn't quite bounce back as bad. Yay! Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the backing off here. This is when it would come in really handy to actually have something called fingernails. And the reason I don't have fingernails, it's not that I chew my fingernails, because I don't. I've never had problems with that. I used to, when they'd get too long and bothering me, I used to rip them off. Now I don't do that anymore. Now I don't have fingernails because it bothers me typing. They'll get so long and I'll be just click, 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 and I just can't stand that. So that's why I keep them cut fairly short most of the time. Okay, so I don't want to get fingerprints on this, because we all know that fingerprints causes things to get less sticky. So I'm just going to use my tool here to get this started all the way down. I figure this is better than my sticky fingers. All the way down. And watch it flip back up on me down here at the end. Because, you know, that's how my day has been. Okay, cool. And then I'm just going to crease it. Crease it all the way down. Because I don't want to expose all of this at one time and then be trying to flip it around and work with it, right? So then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to line it up as straight as I can. With the edge. And I'm just going to really rub that down on there. Really nice and tight. And then I'm just going to do that, right? I'm just going to take this tool and I am going to work it all the way down. Sometimes you got to give it a little help. But this will hopefully help me not get any bubbles in it. Bubbles are not our friend. Plus, get a nice secure, nice and secure stick to this vinyl. Okay, so we got a bubble right there. Can I work it out? Does not seem to want to work out, so I'm going to pull it back up just a hair. Like I said, bubbles really are just not our friends. Okay. Good, good, good. Should be able to work it out from there. Another little bubble right there. Now, some bubbles aren't going to be detrimental. I just like to avoid them if possible. So this kind of stuff, you just can't rush it. I wish you could, but if you do, I mean, even not rushing it half the time, I end up with things I have to go back and find a way to fix or correct. But if you really just get in a hurry to do this, you're asking for it to not work very well. And I, personally, I mean, I've never tackled something this big before. I do a lot of little stuff. See, there are bubbles, but they're small bubbles for the most part. So I'm hoping that those would be okay. Not sure why this is wanting to bubble like this. don't know if that's gonna work out or not. You'd think you could work these bubbles to the end and get them out of there, but they just keep wanting to come back. Time to take the old jacket off. It's gotten quite a bit warmer in my room. It was a little chilly when I came into the crafting room earlier. Okay. Well, you know, this is a trial and error one, so we're just going to run with it and see what we get. Still going to take my time in trying to secure this. Usually, once you get something going like this, it just kind of rolls with it, but this is definitely not rolling with it. This, and I'm pretty sure it's because it's such a big transfer that it is not wanting to cooperate that great at all. So I'm going to try a different strategy. Kind of get it started off and see if that, you can hear the bubbles popping, I'm sure. And I have one big bubble down the end of this bad boy. I'm not sure is going to come off. So let's try a different technique. You see that? You see? I don't know if you guys can see. Yeah, you can see that bubble down the middle of it. That is just, why? It's like it's all flopper-jawed. There we go. I no more than get it started one way and it comes back another. All right. Pull that last little bit up right there. And let's see if we can lay it back down. All right, so it does have some bubbles. That's okay. We hope. We don't know until we start this process. So now what I'm going to do is grab a tool that will help me perhaps do this. Because I don't want, there we go. So there's the whole thing. Let's go ahead and take off this border. You know, actually, forget that. Let's start with the inside. And I'm just going to take this and use it as a barrier against, right? Let's go inside and let's take this eye off. This off. Oops, no, not, because that stuck hard. That stuck hard. Okay. Ah, this stuff is nice and sticky. And it definitely stuck to my transfer tape. Perfect. It's a good thing this is an easy weed. Otherwise, we would be here forever. Okay, so there's the eyeball off. Just gonna stick it back on its original thing. We know that this stays, which means this has to go. So it's back to that. If I weeded that, right, then this stays, and so whatever's touching this has to go. And that, my friend, is this big old whopping piece right here. So again, this is called a reverse weed. And this is a really big piece that needs to come off of several different areas. So I am going to get it started off here. It's okay to touch the transfer tape more so than the vinyl. Oh, okay. And this is why you don't want to touch the vinyl. This is we're probably not going to come back from this one. I doubt seriously that we're going to come back from this one. This could be a lesson in everything not to do tonight. But when mistakes like this happen, and they're gonna happen, trust me, alright, we may have recovered. Whew. Alright, this is why trying to take this off is problematic, because this bad boy is big. So we're going to take our scissors and try and butcher this. Alright, so I'm not confident that I am a fan of the reverse weeding technique, people. This is the first time for me trying it. As you can see, we're stuck up here again. Alright, we're coming off. Good, good, good. And we're just going to work this around and try our best to keep it off of places we don't want it to go. So the reason I'm trying the reverse weed technique is because people complained that you couldn't get what you wanted to transfer to the tape, that it wouldn't stick right. And see, I don't even care that that's tearing, because that's gonna get weeded off anyway. As long as when I get over here, okay, let's not stick to things that we don't want to stick to. Wow. Alright, see, we made full circle. Wow, this stuff is sticky. Okay, so now let's come back. And we survived that. Good. Let's come back up here. You can see what I said about keeping the back of the Cricut sheet, though, because it works perfect. Let's go ahead and take this part out that we ripped through a little bit. Okay, there's that off. And there's one little part right here that for some reason comes out. So let's just go ahead and take this, pop it over here. There it is. Let's take that out. Okay. Good. Or is it good? I think it's good. Stays, goes. Yes, that circle does go. Okay, good. Good, 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 good. So, I am going to pop that out. I'm going to get my scissors in there. I'm going to cut it because we don't want it. All right, pull that off. We're going to pull this all the way around. Like so. I need to get back on my schedule of Tuesdays and Thursday nights for lives. Just work has been so crazy lately. I kind of take it when I can get it. Okay, so good news is that circle is our decal. Oh, that piece of hair right there needs to come out of our decal. Thank you. You know, I think you could do this work in a vacuum and still have issues with getting little spots. So everything else now comes off, which is great. As long as I don't get it stuck to something else, right? Okay, so what I'm gonna do, yep, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cut it. Key here, so we just don't want anything sticking to anything else. I'm just gonna rip that right on off. See, that even grabbed my thing and ripped it. That's okay. Just don't want this folding over on itself or anything of that nature. I've also noticed that I have more traffic on Facebook Live than I do on YouTube. I'm just one of those people that got an email from Facebook going, oh, by the way, one of your friends happened to have gone and clicked on something, and because they're in your friends list, Cambridge Analytica got all of your information as well. So, I'm not a big fan of Facebook right now, although I realize that I probably am not going to be able to boycott them forever. And I'm not boycotting them. I mean, my Maker Nerd page, I keep posting to it, and I will. I mean, darn it. Oh, that was an easy fix, good. What can you do about Facebook, right? Between Facebook and Google, they're going to own the world, is the way that I feel about it. Alright, so this was reverse weeding. Was fairly successful, I think. Got a little piece of something right there on the vinyl that I'm just going to scoot right on off. I don't care if it's on the transfer tape. Just don't want it on the vinyl. So let's take this. Let's place it back on our transfer tape. That didn't start out very well, did it? Let's do it this way. Because I think it's because of the curve in this stuff that I was having so much difficulty with it earlier. I mean, it's got its curve and it likes its curve and it's gonna flow with its curve. Damn it. Okay. Doesn't really matter. There is the transfer in all of its glory. Yes, you probably see bubbles, but that doesn't matter because the transfer tape, once we put this on the window, burnish it really well, we'll be able to pull this transfer tape right off of the decal, and the decal will still be there. So, I guess that does it for tonight. I hope this taught us a couple of things about what to do and what not to do when you're doing reverse weeding. At least it left the transfer on the transfer tape. Otherwise, if I had to put this on the decal and then tried pulling the tape instead of flipping it over, you know, just shooting everything onto the transfer tape, if I had tried actually doing it the other way, I would have had to have been trying to avoid picking up the squares while picking up the right circles, while not picking up the eye or this piece. And so that can be, you know, kind of difficult. But I think generally this worked out really well. And the more I look at it, the more that color does look very similar. And maybe we'll go ahead and flip it the other way and cut this one and be done with this little project. But remember, if you're doing this, to put on a vehicle, like on either side of your vehicle, and you want your decals facing the same direction. Now, some decals, it's not going to matter. But this definitely, you know, has a direction. Make sure you cut one in reverse, or mirror it, is what it's called. Because if you don't, then you're going to end up with them facing opposite directions. Even if you wanted to, like, put them, maybe one right on your back window in one corner and one in the other corner, you would want them facing into each other. So you would have to mirror at least one of them to get that to work. So, I guess that's it for tonight. I think we've been on here for like 40 minutes, and this has been a pretty good video. This is Monday night, the beginning of the week. Like I said, it was kind of a long day at work for me. I don't know how it was for you all, but I would really appreciate it if people would go and check out the website. Now, what I will do is when I post this video on my website, I will list all of the tools that I used, the websites that I used to make this, the vinyl. This, as you can probably see, this is actually Cricut transfer tape. Some people complain about it, but I have never had an issue using Cricut transfer tape, other than, you know, the bubbling situation. But as you can see, that didn't harm us at all. So yeah, I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the week, and hopefully I will see you on here for another project, maybe on Thursday. So, until later, I hope everybody has a really good week, and we will catch you on the flip side.